All right, we are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. We're talking this morning about the mass transit overhaul, the referendum that's coming up. With us this morning, two individuals that are, representing the side in favor of this with Transit Nashville, Charles Robert Bone and Brenda Wynn. We're going to have another show in the coming weeks that will have the opponents of it. We're going to be fair and give each a full program for this. Also want to remind folks, in addition to calling us here on News Channel 5 Plus, you can comment and post right now. We're streaming live on Facebook at newschannel5.com if you'd like, and I'll try to get to some of your questions and comments there. So we have a few phone calls. Let's take a call or two, and then I'll get to some of these questions and let you guys jump in. Let's go to Brian. We've got a couple Brians. Hi, Brian.
Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
And your guest. First off, I want to say that I like that commercial, Feed the Pig. I was wondering, how many helicopters would $9 billion buy? And I'll leave it at let y'all talk about that. Doing buy a helicopter.
Oh, just have everyone travel by helicopter instead?
Well, yeah, how many helicopters for $9 billion buy? Just travel by helicopter. I noticed y'all got one at Channel 5. Why can't everybody have a helicopter?
Wouldn't that be great?
Helicopter.
It'd be pretty crowded up there in the skies. Yeah, people looking for other options. I think he's probably being a bit facetious, but he's making the point that's a lot of money, and who knows if it could be better spent on something else. And that's what a lot of these comments on Facebook are talking about right now.
Sure. And I think you hear in one of the comments we saw, we can't pave our way out of this. Right, and particularly there is an interstate component to this. That's handled by the state, and the state seems to be focused on interstates.
Yeah, Mikey here is saying expand your freeways, right. Or others are saying repair your roads. I'm hearing from Elizabeth.
And so most of those roads that you see are 440 and the interstate. The Improve Act did set aside funds for those, but that's handled by the state. So this is a question about what we can do with the city and how ultimately that ties into the region.
And we have improved our interstate system. I mean, when I moved to Goodlettsville in 1989, I think there was a 3-lane road, and now, for the most part, it's almost 6, up to a certain point. We move, but we move up to the point where we come back into this 4-lane highway.
Let's be clear too. This
I don't know that we'll ever pave our way out.
Well, you're always paving from behind, right? I mean, you're always expanding from behind to meet the demand that's already there. Look at Atlanta. We would never catch up with this if this was just trying to pave our way out of this.
Yeah. Everyone's talking about it now too because of all the crazy potholes we've seen after all this freezing.
After all the rain.
It's not good on the shocks. I mean, and we should be clear too that this is a referendum in Metro Nashville. All right. So of course the folks who live in this community would be paying for it, and it would benefit them first and foremost, and the visitors. Some people are saying, this rail system, doesn't really address people traveling to work outside Davidson County, or does it? And her take is that there's a majority of people sometimes, like myself, who travel from outside. I do not live in Davidson County. I live in Wilson County, and if it was more convenient, I would take the Music City Star every dang day. It just doesn't quite fit my schedule in this business. Otherwise, I would do it in a heartbeat. But how does it address folks outside of Davidson County?
I know that you guys are, we know that at some point in time we're going to have to reach out to those folks in the SMSA and say to other counties, we need your buy-in. We need you to come in and participate with us.
What's SMSA again?
Standard Metropolitan Statistical Area.
Got me on that one. Okay, thank you. All right.
To get folks to understand that, with folks coming in from Clarksville and Murfreesboro and Williamson County and Rutherford County, that at some point in time, and in Sumner County, I mean, folks have got to start paying for using the roads in Nashville, and so I think that there is a move afoot to begin to talk about that as well.
And I would add 2 things to that. One, I mean, you can't build the spoke without building the hub. And there's a lot of consensus within the leadership. Mayor Dean actually put together a mayor's regional caucus, and Mayor Berry has been instrumental in keeping that alive. And there's a lot of consensus within that mayor's caucus about what a long-term regional plan has to look like. But what the only tool the legislature gave us was to do this county by county. And so everybody's looking at, why would Williamson County or Rutherford County or Wilson County go and try to pass something without knowing where Nashville was? And so everybody's looking at Nashville to kind of be the hub.
We are the starting point.
So maybe other connectors then come from other counties.
And it's designed in a way where you can begin to see how the other counties would connect to it. The other thing I would add to that, the beauty of this plan for those of us who live in Davidson County is you are sharing in the cost of this. As much as the sales tax is an imperfect revenue stream, given the regressive nature of it, at the same time, 47% of our sales tax are being collected from people who either live out of county or who are visiting the city. And to me, that seems seems like a pretty fair way to allocate this so that those who do live in Wilson County are able to help contribute towards this.
Some of what you're up against, and again, I don't know, like I said, if you're just for the status quo, get your head out of the sand. Now we can quibble about how to handle it, but we have some of these comments, and I don't know if they live in Davidson County or not, but you know, Sally's saying, come on, with all the stuff going on, shootings and stuff, all you know, protecting children's future, stop wasting money on a nonsense issue. I mean, look, Sally, I understand all these other issues are important, but first of all, this is not a nonsense issue. You're wrong. And second, I mean, it doesn't have to be either or. Of course we want to protect children. She's right. Those are important issues. But I'm not saying, okay, we got to protect children, so you got crappy traffic headaches. I don't think you have to have one or the other, right?
Well, and I mean, you can look at this through the prism of just congestion, which we've spent most of the morning talking about. But at the same time, there's a prism, and Brenda chaired this task force, but affordability, accessibility, and opportunity. So when you talk about youth issues, when you talk about crime issues, when you talk about education, et cetera, as you begin to build out a mass transit plan in Nashville that focuses on reimagining the bus system, that does have a light rail component, that does have a rapid bus component, that begins to open up and allow people in North Nashville to access Antioch, Antioch to access Goldsville, Goldsville to Bellevue, and begins to open up more economic opportunities for the people who live here. Yeah,
that surely is like most people need their own transportation, okay? And I'm going to hit on that because I understand where she's coming from. But again, now here, this is what bothers me. People go, we have enough problems without breaking our backs with billions in additional taxes. I'm sorry, it ain't billions. It's $5 more a month. You know, I'm sorry, if that's going to break you, well, I'm sorry. But I mean, I just don't get that being a huge billions. I know the big picture is billions, but per individual, is that unfair of a burden?
I would say it's not an unfair burden. Again, and if we're looking futuristically and looking at what Nashville will become, because if we don't do something, what we will become is not the kind of city that attracts people.
It will hurt. I've already stopped coming downtown except to work. You know, I'm done with it, even for concerts and stuff. Parking, traffic, it ain't worth it to me anymore. Maybe I'm just getting older. It ain't worth it to me. So they're losing my dollars downtown as it is. But now, for people like Shirley, and this is important to me, and this is a point that I think she makes that I do agree with, is that people do need their own transportation. Whatever replaces this, and I know it's going to be down the road, it has to be something like some of these other municipalities like Portland, or where someone like me or someone can truly leave their car at home and get everywhere they need to be in a timely, economic fashion within their schedule when they have to travel. That's crucial. If this is built and it's kind of like the bus system now, which, yeah, the buses they do the best they can, but I'm sorry, not reliable enough for me. It ain't going to cut it. So you're saying it'll be something that, Nick, yes, you can depend on this when it's done to get you everywhere you need to go when you need it at an affordable price.
And that's my understanding of what this system will be.
Okay, that's what you're going to have to deliver.
And as fully built out and designed, it will bring 79% of our residents and 86% of our jobs within a half mile of public transit, which is a marked improvement from where we are today, especially when you consider that today 85% of the people who access public transit in Nashville walk to the bus.
And from where I live, it's 2 miles.
2 miles.
It's 2 miles.
It's 1.25 miles from my house.
Yeah. Well, this one from Sharona, she says her husband travels from Trousdale County to West End. His commute would take 50 to 55 minutes, but most of the time it's an hour 50.
Bless him.
Yeah.
Okay. He's even had his car totaled in a wreck at some point. She would love some type of mass transit, even if it's a park and ride, where he has to get to a point, park, and then take the rest of it.
Absolutely. You know, I've used systems like this, and I have to tell you guys, I'm so jealous of communities.
Can you name one that you really admire?
Washington, D.C. I used the metro system back when President Obama was inaugurated. I had the great fortune of going to Washington, D.C. to the inauguration. We drove in, but we stopped at the first metro station, got on the metro, went into the city, picked up our tickets, had dinner in D.C., got back on the transit system, went back out to our cars, and drove to Baltimore.
It's awesome. Now, the big cities are awesome. I'm trying to think of, you know, and I've lived in San Francisco, which is an unbelievable, you know, kind of, but in terms of cities on par with us, which ones that would you maybe have been looked at that you know of? I mean, like I mentioned Portland earlier. I don't know, do they have a transit system in Charlotte? It's been years since, I don't know.
Charlotte
where do you
has
kind of say, yeah, we'd like to be kind of like that? well, in similar population size.
And I think one of the things they've looked at in designing this, and which makes Nashville unique, is to do an overhaul of the entire transit system. So this is not just light rail, right? And this is not just figuring out light rail. In the cities where you have seen an increase in public transit ridership, places like Seattle and Houston, simultaneously they did what we're doing, which is to say, at the same time, let's make our current bus system more efficient. Not everybody's going to ride. Not everybody's going to ride mass transit. Right. Not everybody's going to ride light rail. But at the same time, let's make sure there are multiple modes so that we can touch everybody, and so that those connect and access each other. And the cities that have done that seem to be in the very best position, which is what Nashville's plan is modeled after.
Let's go to Joe on the phone. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, good morning. What's your thought?
I noticed the lady mentioned something for, I think maybe she said free for low income. Is there anything in this bill for discount to seniors or free ride for seniors? Because a lot of seniors have quit driving and are not able to drive anymore, but they still have to sometimes go different places. And the second part is that when if this passes, how long would it take to get it in place? When would it get started? When would it get in place? And probably like most other things that's been around, when we get started on this, the $10 billion price tag will probably go up.
Everyone wonders it's always going to cost more. All right, real quick before you go to the break, seniors and then the timetable.
Well, yeah, absolutely, seniors, because seniors live on fixed incomes, and so based on your income, you'd be able to ride the system for either a reduced cost or a free cost.
Okay.
For seniors, disabled, and those experiencing poverty would either ride for free or at a discount.
Okay. And you think it would be a token system, a pass?
No.
Any idea?
I think it's probably a pass system.
Okay. Maybe it depends on which mode.
No idea.
Okay. And then as far as the timetable, obviously it could start where you start getting more dedicated lanes for buses. That's what you can do easy first. But the tunnel and this light rail construction, that could be a solid 10 years.
10, 15 years out.
But you would see some immediate being over the next 12 to 18 months changes to the current bus system. Reimagining that, expanding hours, making it more dependable, making more frequent stops, and you'd begin to experience an enhanced bus system in the very near term, while the engineering, et cetera, went forward on the rail components.
On everything else. So
you're probably on the rail components. I mean, you're probably 6-7 years out on that.
Gotcha. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we can take more of your calls at 737-7587, or we're also streaming live at newschannel5.com on Facebook. If you want to comment there, I'll try to bring up your comments with our guests as well. We'll take a break. Be back with more right after this.